He got to his feet and stomped his booted foot next to Martin's head. Now Martin opened both eyes and looked up at his friend. Will's face, usually distracted and slightly ridiculous, was angry. "Will?" Martin sat up too quickly and was punished with a coughing fit. Will was on his knees beside him in an instant, a hand in the middle of Martin's back, just resting there. "I'm fine. Hay fever," he lied. "What happens next?" "I suppose we'll bring you home for a dose of—" "In the story, you pillock." He had learned that word from Will, and felt very worldly using it. "Oh, well..." Deep from within the ground, the sound came closer. Slowly the vibrations began to shake the dragons from the feet up, and the noise became louder and louder, so the dragons let loose with their own fearsome shrieks just to drown it out. And then one of the smaller dragons who wasn't supposed to be there, noticed that the ground was getting hotter. He tried to tell the elder dragons, but they were too busy throwing tantrums to hear him. It got so hot, the small dragon's feet began to hurt, so he perched on the branches of a nearby rowan tree. Still, the ground got hotter and hotter, so hot the adult dragon started to catch fire. "I thought dragons breathed fire. Shouldn't they be fireproof?" Honestly, Martin expected better from Will's stories. This was eldritch flame. The dry grass caught fire, and the dragons caught fire, and all the hills, from peak to peak and along the Valley of Bones, it all went up in flame. Martin stared, waiting for the next part, the happy ending that Will always finished up with. "Then what?" he asked, his voice a whisper. "They all died. Even the little dragon, because he couldn't fly very far yet. That's why there aren't any dragons anymore." "But, Will, that is not a good story, I'm sorry to say. What was the voice? What was it saying? Was it the devil come from hell? It had better not be, because that's cheating." "No, it wasn't any of those things. It was just the way the story ended." Chapter 1. It was hot. By God, it was hot, and the ground beneath him was rough and dry. In his head sounded a steady rhythmic pounding. Martin felt that while it was unlikely that a sinister menace was about to spring up from the earth and consume the last of his race, he couldn't quite rule it out. When he opened his eyes, there were neither unnatural flames nor shrieking dragons, but there was not much of anything else either. It was dim, but even that faint light was enough to make him squeeze his eyes shut. His head was really very bad. No use mincing words. All of him was bad, but his chest and head were unspeakable. "Damnation," he rasped, those 3 syllables taking all the air from his lungs. "Will?" he managed a moment later, because hadn't Will just been telling him that terrible story? There was the sound of chair legs scraping across a stone floor, and then a cool hand on his forehead. "Sweetheart," said Will, because he was an idiot with no sense of self-preservation. "Don't," Martin said, and batted Will's hand away. Or at least he tried to. He must not have been successful, because the end result was that now Will was holding his hand. Their fingers were intertwined, and Martin lacked the strength, physical or mental, to disentangle himself. Besides, Will's hand was cool and familiar, and he was aware he was holding on to it like a lifeline. "Do you know where you are?" Will asked. No, he bloody well did not know where he was. Thousand years ago," he mumbled. Beyond the pounding in his head, he heard a vial being unstopped, then felt a cool hand on his cheek, followed by the unmistakable foulness of willow bark tincture in his mouth. He tried to spit it out. Dignity was quite beyond him.